Dude, so we connected on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago. And so first of all, I legit follow your content. It's good
Yeah, awesome.
stuff. Yeah, legit follow it. And 3, 4 weeks ago, I saw a video of yours that said, stop trying to be the expert. And I watched that and it was like, mind blown emoji, right? So it's like, it just spoke to me. I just finished reading a book earlier this year called Ego is the Enemy by Ryan
Yeah.
Holiday.
Yeah, it's great.
And dude, it was just right. What you said was just in alignment with that. It's like, we spend so much time trying to be the expert in our given field. And it's exhausting, dude. It's
Yeah.
exhausting. So the video spoke to me, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start consuming this dude's content and learn as much as I can. So I've got a boutique marketing agency coming up on 2 years now. Actually,
Awesome.
no, this is 2 years. Yeah, 2 years this month. And I'm in a really niche, space. My audience is, tech entrepreneurs out of Latin America. And that's really all I do. I do lead generation and appointment setting for them. And we're learning every day, trying to improve processes, and enjoying it. So,
That's cool.
yeah,
And in Latin America, why the South America like that?
dude, it's a little bit of me. I mean, I just love culture and travel,
Yeah.
I started working with a guy a couple of years ago that was in software sales,
Okay.
and his entire network was South America. That was it, and he was really just the guy that created the handshake between the software companies and the decision makers here in the States. I worked with him doing marketing, doing lead gen, built out some things. And when our time ended, I was like, you know what? I have a ton of cool people that I just built a network with. So reached out and they said, yes, let's try to do some lead gen. And it worked out.
So tell me what's your process?
Yeah. So everything is strictly LinkedIn. We had started out with emails, email marketing. Um, Dude, it works really well. Emails work really well with a warm audience. Coming in cold, it's just it's a complete mess,
Yeah.
and you do more harm than good. Um, and so we stick to LinkedIn for all of our lead gen, and it's really two deliverables. It's lead gen and appointment setting. So we find the leads, warm them up. Typically outbound messaging. We're testing out a couple of things with content and ads right now. But yeah, that's essentially it. We book them on our clients' calendars, and then I coach them on the sales calls, which I definitely want to discuss during this call,
Okay,
sales
cool.
strategies and such. So that's it,
Yeah.
man. It's really a two-step
Yeah,
process for
cool.
us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of like how we started too. I mean, that's what we're going to be rebranding. So we started as like it's Automation Wolf, obviously, right now, but we did
Yep.
the cold outreach thing, but it was kind of like lukewarm, like, wasn't crazy
Yeah.
about it. And then that's why we moved into demand gen. I was like, we got to do social selling and content production and warm these
Mm-hmm.
people up, but we still use LinkedIn and cold emails, the lead domino. We just lead
Mm-hmm.
with the interview strategy or the community strategy or just a soft connect. And then, once we've got them, we then use the content to leverage that. So we have the short form, the long form at the LinkedIn events, and then we use the uploaded list for ads. So it's still like heavy LinkedIn based. So we're almost like probably doing the same thing, just slightly different. We're
Yeah.
not, we don't sell it as like lead gen or as appointment setting because it sets the wrong expectations for our clients. We set it
Yeah.
as demand gen. Otherwise, like it doesn't always work out perfect, but it kind of results in the same thing, but in a better way. We still have some challenges with clients following up afterwards, but we position ourselves getting you the content, like leveraging your time is really the angle that we've sold on positioning
Yeah.
versus necessarily leads, because we started with the lead thing and it was like it just too many mishaps that just were working perfectly. But once we made that switch, man, we have no client churn, everything's going well, we're charging a premium, people are really happy. So it's very, very close, but not quite the same thing.
Yeah, I noticed if you talk to 10 different people about lead generation, you'll get 10 different definitions of what lead generation is. And so
Yeah,
it's like
well,
there's so
most
much
people,
time that goes into that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, most people will be very clear about it. Like well, the challenge is though, at the end of the day, like I honestly believe this now that I've been doing it for a while. So this is my third agency, and I accept the other two. And then I've worked with like literally thousands of companies in marketing in general, but more specifically in this very specific article where I help a lot of agencies, like 75 and the other 25% are like B2B SaaS pretty much. So all North American,
Yeah.
all smaller companies between 1 million and 10 million. These are all like
Mhm.
first time founders pretty much, and people are really stretched for time. No big like company sales teams, but they all will say things like leads and sales and ROI, but they need to change their thinking because it's very small thinking. It's very, reactive thinking. They need to think community and trust because it allows them to be preemptive. Because once they build community and trust with a group of people and put it in a controlled environment, then they can charge more. Then they don't need as many salespeople. Then they can suck at sales and it takes care of itself. Because the reality is, if you own the relationship preemptively, you don't have to be
Yeah.
good at sales. There's a rule called the 7-11 and 4 rule, which is anytime you're making a major buying decision or anytime you're trying to get someone to go from being just like a stranger or acquaintance to, a strategic advisor, you have to adhere to that law. And it's not a law or rule that I wrote. A guy named Daniel Priestley, he did it, and he wrote a book called Oversubscribe. But basically, for people to trust you, they need 7 hours with you, 11 interactions in 4 different locations.
Okay.
And so if that's the real problem that you're trying to tackle, right? And
Yeah.
so instead of it just being calling this mysterious like top of funnel thing, well, you can measure those things, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can take very strategic things to do that. And you're just trying to speed it up. Now, you still can't control when someone's going to recognize they have the problem and that they have the money to throw at it. But you can control the trust building aspect and measure that way. And you can control targeting the whole market versus those that are just in market. The challenge
Yeah.
with inbound and outbound is that they're only targeting the 1 to 3% who are in market.
Yep.
And generally speaking, they piss off everybody else who's not, right?
Yep.
So what you want to do is be inclusive because it's a funnel. And what they're trying to do is funnel people in to find the people who are in market. But that's the problem. What you really want is a flywheel that's inclusive no matter what. That no matter where someone is at their buying cycle, they can participate in your controlled format, which should be a community. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
easier. It creates leverage and it doesn't require as much work. And honestly, like the publishing of content is not that impressive. Like that is not how you build a relationship. You build a relationship in the replies and the interactions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you want to do
Absolutely.
you want to do it publicly, not privately. And the
Yep.
reason why you want to do it publicly, not privately, is because it gives you more leverage because everybody can read it. Because what you're
Yep.
applying and saying is true
Mhm.
privately, and it's a lot less work for you. So you can do one-to-many selling in the process. So what I'm always
Mhm.
trying to get people to do is move away from private to public,
Mhm.
put it in something wherever, where it multiplies itself
Mhm.
and you put people through that aspect. And when you do it in this
Mhm.
way where you can, so like our whole idea is like we connect with your ideal buyers, but then we help you create all your content in an hour and a half so that
Yep.
it doesn't take up all your time, keep you
Yep.
omnipresent. You can, in your snackable content is organic and paid.
Mhm. Yeah.
Your list that you're trying to target is not invisible. You can upload it to LinkedIn and the other platforms called an upload list. So you get 100% match. So you can make sure your Snapple content is always omnipresent with a very small group of people. So Dream
Yeah.
100. Then what you do is you flip them over to the long form format
Mhm.
where you have a conversion event,
Yeah.
podcast or webinar, call it whatever you want, workshop. I like workshop, you know.
Yep.
Those that raise their hand, they then raise their hand that they're interested. Those that are not ready to be in that stage, whatever, you still have the backup, which is the community. And in
Yeah.
the community, you're just asking questions and being a good host. Stop trying to be the expert. If you want to
Mhm.
do anything, spotlight them and interview them. It puts content in there. It makes them feel warm and fuzzy, right? Ego
Yep.
bait.
Yep.
It's just like you got me. Hey, I want to interview. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most people who have a big head like me will say yes if they're
Yeah.
a founder and a CEO, and the relationship starts beginning. And what I always try to tell people is like at the end of the day, the interview is it's just a fancy discovery call without the sales pressure. So it's better. The rule that I have is this is I tell people there should be no selling until you have trust because they can't
Yeah.
buy from you.
Mhm.
What we're really measuring is a trustometer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's ways to like get people out to raise their hand when they're in market sooner. So you can still shake out the same
Sure.
people. They're like, okay,
Sure.
well, but why you? Or why should we really choose you? And well, I can get it for cheaper somewhere else. Like you
Right.
wouldn't have those kind of objections when someone knows you. They just be like,
Right.
hey, yo, Evan,
Yeah.
how much? Yo, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about doing this. What's your program? Okay, cool. Let's quick call. Yeah. Okay, what's the price? Yeah. Okay, cool. And budget. Send me over the paperwork. That's
Right.
what happens when you have trust.
That's true.
It's like it's a
That's
lot
true.
easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about like the mechanics of know, like, trust, and how we can actually put this into play in our marketing strategies. Do you have a process that you put people through? Maybe called the
Yeah.
closure, the 3-step closure, something like this. Yeah.
I have a two-step
A
closure
2-step
process.
closure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there are 3 steps to it, but I mean, I can talk about that real quick.
Sure.
So it's called the two-step closure call. And I want to be clear that it's not to close people. Okay. That's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying, you're not trying to get a yes from her, nor should you at the end of the
Uh-huh.
day. What we're trying to do is get a decision made, because a decision moves their business forward and it moves your business forward.
Mhm.
there there's a saying, I think the saying goes, there's nothing heavier, there's nothing heavier, it's not gold, it's not silver, it's an unmade decision, right?
Mm.
And that's true. And so if you really
Yeah.
truly believe that, you should be trying to help your prospects make a decision. And so the way you do that is making sure you set up the initial call, the discovery call, really, 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 really well. If
Mm.
this is the lead domino to getting closure in a second call. Okay.
Mm.
And so the gist of it, the way it works is there's a few things you need to get organized in the discovery call. You should do no presenting whatsoever about what your solution is, or very little prescribing, almost
Okay.
none. So
Yeah.
if you have a 30-minute call, you might spend literally like 3 or 4 minutes with the prescription or solution, assuming that it's appropriate. Obviously, if it's not appropriate for the prospect, you should help them get pointed in the right direction. So I always start the call like this. You say, hey, Evan, it's been, we've got 30 minutes on the calendar. Is that good for you? Cool. Awesome. It's a short amount of time. Is it okay if I just ask you a bunch of questions to make sure that I can help you? And if I can't help you, I promise to get you pointed in the right direction.
Nice.
You're gonna say, yeah, for sure. So now I've taken control. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next thing you want to say is, okay, cool. Tell me who you help and how you help. But give me the TV guide sentence of it, the short version of it. It's
Yeah.
important that you say that. Otherwise, people will fucking ramble for 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So they can, okay, cool. Tell me how you ended up on this call. Cool. How did you hear about, how long have you known of us? This is going to give you an idea of where they are in the trustometer, right? If they're like, oh,
Yep.
I saw an ad, clicked on it, went to the thing, and I thought I'd just fucking talk to you. Or it'd be like,
Yep.
hey man, I've been, like, you got on the phone, I've been following you for a while, legit following you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm inspired by lots of the stuff you say. It's connected with other
Right.
stuff. I know I'm a little bit further along of the trustometer,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you see, so one is you're sussing out, like, where are you? Because if they don't know you yet and they haven't consumed any of your long form content, guess what you're going to do? You're not going to proceed to a closure call. You're going to redirect them to your automation, or at least to your 10-minute amplifier video, because they don't know.
Don't trust yet. Yeah.
No, they don't know anything
Yeah.
about it. You don't really know how you can
Yeah.
solve the problem. And sometimes
That's right.
people get on the phone without doing these things. And if you don't have it gated right,
Yeah.
that you're going to end up talking to someone who's not qualified. And a lot of times people put this, they'll take this discovery call and they'll move it into the next stage, and it shouldn't be there. It should go off as abandoned and educate.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you're going to find out and say, what's the problem? You know what I mean? How long have you been trying to fix this problem? What does good look like? What does success look like in the next 12 months? If it was a really successful year and you look back, what needed to happen? They'll tell you, okay, cool. So now you're stretching the gap. How long have you been dealing with this problem? What have you tried? What do you think you need to fix it? They're going to tell you these things. Okay, now you've got a little bit about it. You say, okay, cool. It sounds like this is the problem. Now you can describe that you're trying to do, and you want to do this. You can do this. You acknowledge that they learn, and they're like, okay, cool. That was your prescription. Cool.
Yep.
Our product either fits or doesn't. At that point, you have to make a decision. If it doesn't fit, redirect them. Okay.
Yep.
If it fits, you know what? Our product perfectly fits for this. I'm going to give you a quick little thing on how it solves the problem. Cool. Does that sound like it would be good? Yeah, it would. Okay, cool. Before we get into, like, talking about this and how we can help you, we're probably going to have to do that a second call to spend some more time around that. But I'd like to ask you a couple more questions. Is that okay? And you're like, sure, cool. Do you have money? Here's the average cost that people invest with us. Get the money out front.
Yeah.
Like, literally,
Yeah.
tell them what the average is, right? And they're like, do you have this range of money to invest with? If the answer is no, sorry, can't help you. Do not do second call.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next question is, who else needs to be involved in making this decision?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just you? Oh no, I need Sally, man. I should have my organization. I should talk to my uncle Bill because he used to be a marketer. Like, whoever the fuck it is, like, just find out who it is. Okay, cool. if they're not on the call, you can't start presenting your
That's
services. Like, don't bother.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, cool. Those are some great things. I have just 2 more things that I need to discuss with you. Is that all right? Yes, cool. Okay. Here's what we need to do is I'm going to send you an email, some information. I'm going to send you a 10-minute video. It's called a 10-minute amplified video. It explains our services and what we do.
I've seen
I
it.
need, yeah, I need you to do these 2 things for me, right?
Yeah.
I need you to get everybody on this to watch this before we book the next meeting, and double confirm budgets with everybody, and then book the second meeting. The second meeting is 100% for you. So you guys can ask as many questions as you want. Some people have 1, some people have 100. I don't care what you need to ask, but you can ask whatever you want so you can feel educated about making a decision. Is that
Yeah.
cool? Cool. Awesome. We need to agree on one thing. The second call is about making a decision, because it benefits your business. A no moves your business forward and a yes moves your business forward. And here's what I
You
always
set
tell
the
people.
expectation.
Yeah.
You just set the
And
expectation. Yeah.
you set the expectation. That's what the call is about. It's a decision-making call, right?
Yep.
That's why I call it the closure call. You don't care which one it
Yep.
is. And I always tell people, like, look, here's what you're looking for internally is you want to make sure it's a hell yes or it's a no. If you're not feeling ecstatic about it, and this is a hell yes, this is not a dip your toe in a program type thing. We're either going to work together in partners. So I
Yep.
need you to do your research. I'm going to send you all the stuff that you can do your due diligence so you can feel super confident about it. Are you cool with that? Are you game with that game plan? And we'll leave an hour. So there's lots of time. I know this is 30 minutes. Does that work? Cool. Awesome. See you later. Send them the stuff. And now you're going to get a decision, and now you can get them in or off your list and
Sure.
move things forward instead of being like endless follow-up cycle or like putting people in there who's not appropriate. And
Yep.
so it works really well. And that's called the 2-call closure method. And everybody should use it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do something similar. By the way, I'm going to go immediately and edit my scripts, all my sales calls. And so I do and teach something similar. We follow know, like, trust. And we try to get everything covered in 3 calls. Okay. And I teach my clients to do the same. And the idea is that there should be an expectation first that you're going to have a second and a third call. And I tell my clients, there is no pitching, there is no selling on the first call. It's absolutely just intro, like legitimately just intro, right? Meet and greet. We even call it meet and greet on calendly.com. And the idea is just information. You're just getting information from them, similar to what you just mentioned. And it's all about discovery, understanding their needs, understanding their pain points, where they are in their journey, so on and so forth. So that on the second call, you can actually present a solution. And this idea of know, like, trust, it's like, I teach it like going on 3 dates, because everybody can relate to that. And it's like going on the first date and doing nothing but talking about yourself. It's a complete turnoff to the other person.
Yeah, totally.
And I mean, it's really the worst thing you can do on a first date, because it's all about first impressions, and everyone's really making their decision on that in that first 5 minutes. But the opposite is true. If you sat down and asked the other person across the table from you, tell me about yourself, and they started talking, and you'd be like, wait, hold on. You said something about traveling or something, tell me more about that. You would immediately build rapport with that person because you're actually listening. There's a great book by Dale Carnegie, Winning Friends and Influencing People.
Yeah, it's a great book.
He teaches this.
Yeah, one of the first ones I read a long time ago when I joined multi-level networking when I was like 23 for a quick start, which was Amway.
Nice. Oh, okay, good. Yes, that'll teach you some multi-level marketing tactics there.
I never did anything with it. Was never successful. But the one thing that was great about it was all the education. It started changing my mindset of thinking better and clearer. Yeah, but it's a great book. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, no, I know a few people in with Amway, and absolutely their meetings go the same way. It's like, tell me. It's like this consultative sort of approach. But yeah, so the idea is that you're listening, and then at the end of the call, you do your very best to avoid a follow-up, right? Where you're following up with email or you're following up with phone calls, because it's the worst. And in a dating scenario, you have a great date. It's mutual. You both had a good time. You're like, you know what, we should do this again. And they say, sure, let's do it again. And all right, I'll hit you up with the details. And you hit them up. And 7 days goes by, and they ghost you. And it's the worst feeling, because it's like, it was a great time. I thought this was mutual. And the reality is they're busy, or maybe they're on vacation. Maybe it's has nothing to do with you. So I teach that at the end of that call, there's like a magic script where you sort of bridge the call. And it's like, it goes something like this, Matthew, this is a really great call. I learned a great deal about your organization. It's a little too soon to know if we can collaborate. And so why don't we go ahead and put another call on the calendar now? And you're literally you have your Calendly open and you're saying, how about Tuesday, 2 p.m.? And they say, yeah, sure. And so now it's this mutual thing where two people are agreeing and they're going up together rather than you running after and chasing someone. So yeah, I love to ask, in these calls, what is your philosophy toward entrepreneurship, mentorship, goal setting, books? Do you have any mentors that you follow now?
Yeah, totally. Like loads.
Yep.
I think if I go back in my journey, when I started out, my mentors were books. And I had to read a lot of them because I'm a slow learner and really slow to like pick up and make change. Like some people are quick, they can figure this stuff out, in a year or two. I literally need to be like years, like before a lesson, before a lesson sinks in. And
guilty.
Usually I need to even make the mistake. It's so funny. Like even like a lot of this fundamental stuff was around way back. And even when I started with, I started learning more about the stuff with mindset to begin with, but then it started into like direct response. Like I started buying courses on like how to mail people letters, old school copywriting.
Like in Dan Kennedy stuff.
Yeah, it's totally exactly. And then I got sucked into, the internet and all the green shiny object syndromes. And it would just go from one thing to one thing, which is very tactical, like I was talking about before. So I'm
right.
But when I come all the way back, I'm like full circle now after having 15 years of kind of like seeing it all and doing it all, I'm like, if I just stuck with copywriting and the fundamentals and some of these other things, I would have grown a lot faster. Maybe I had a lot less false starts. So those are my entrepreneurs to begin with. And then secondly, I didn't start investing in paid coaching soon enough. I would have done that sooner.
Wow.
Like I took a lot of courses and other things. And I think getting around community and other like-minded people is really important, especially in entrepreneurship, because it can be a little bit lonely if you don't come from a family or friends who do it. Usually that you're the oddball out, and you start becoming a weirdo, right? You don't become relatable anymore. You can't relate to your friends and family. You don't really feel like you have anyone to talk to. I mean, it's easier with all the digital stuff today, but to find that community of like-minded people. But I think that paying for something is important versus just doing the free stuff, because you have to pay attention. So, and I think that sometimes even paying a lot is the stuff that really fast tracks you. So paying for coaching at $500 a month is great, but why don't you join the, one where you got to pay 50 grand? Because trust me, all of a sudden you peak up, and then you also get around a really different quality of entrepreneur who changes your thinking. Because generally speaking, we don't have business problems. We have mindset problems. They're usually just limiting beliefs that are holding us back. Now, there's a balance between this. The trick is when you're getting the coaching, only get it from someone who is 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. Because if you go too far, like if they're 100 steps from you, you can't go and get the coaching from a billionaire if you're trying to just make your first 7 figures at $1 million or something like that. Right? You don't need to go from 6 figures to 7, but you could get coaching. You probably, if you're like $500,000 a year or something, and you're trying to break $1 million and build a little bit of a team, probably someone who's done 2 or 3 million is perfect, right? Probably a guy at 10 is even a little bit too of a stretch, right? Because he's just thinking, or girl or person or they or whatever pronoun you want to use, you know what I mean? I don't really care. But where you just don't want to be 2 steps far ahead. But getting that coaching is important. Paying a little bit more than you think you can pay is important. Don't cheap out on those things. And then of course, if you can't afford it, books and podcasts are your best friend. Google's your friend. I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for anybody if you want. If you want to do these things, to be able to find it, right? I mean, it's at your fingertips. So you know.
Well, dude, I just want to say thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for agreeing to jump on. I'd like to know, where can people find you online besides Automation Wolf? Where can they find you?
Yeah, there's only 2 places. I'm only active on LinkedIn. So if you just type in Matthew Hunt on LinkedIn, I've picked one social channel to be on, and that's it.
Nice.
And, and then there's only one site you can reach me on, which is automationwolf.com. It's spelled exactly the way it sounds. And it's a 1-page website. You can only do 2 things there: watch a video or reach out and contact me. And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Simple, right? Simple wins. All right, my friend. Well, we'll end here, and I'll see you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, let's keep in touch. I mean, we have a lot in common, and maybe there's something we could collaborate on.
Agreed.
Cool,
that's
man.
great, man. I'll be in touch.
Thanks, Evan.
All right, Matthew. We'll see you, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Late. Bye.